I didn't know my father. My mom was a woman of the night, if you know what I mean. So obviously, I never got to meet him. Um, she was a transplant from Japan, so she was working, doing whatever she had to do to pay bills. Um, and because of it, I came about, and through that, uh, I guess it was a pretty rough life for my mom. So she needed obviously to get a green card at one point, and she went ahead and married this dude who lived in South Central Los Angeles. He also didn't have any money. He was a bad character. We lived in the projects. All the homes had different colors, low hanging power line. I mean, I kind of vividly remember it. It was not a good time for me because I was an Asian kid in a black area. It's just, it wasn't kind on me. I didn't really have any friends. They were all kind of mean to me and all that. But regardless of that, when I was about 6 or 7 years old, I remember we were at the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, and he got stabbed up in a parking lot and died. So he was part of a gang. So I think they just retaliated and got back at him. So that wasn't, it was an experience. Um, Shortly after that, we got out of there. We got out of the hood because it was, obviously not a very friendly place. So we moved out to another hood, which was a little bit better, which was Echo Park. I think, around Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Uh, so grew up out there, for a while, stayed out there. Then my mom remarried a few years later to another dude, and that guy, he was abusive. So he was only abusive to my mom, but he was abusive to me. Um, but he stuck around for a minute. He stuck around, and he's the one where both of my parents tried to get me into all sorts of different activities, but I wasn't really good at anything. But then they finally got me in a gym where I started learning how to fight, do martial arts. Um, so I excelled in that. Um, and then as I got into my teen years, I kept competing. I went pretty far up in my field. I made the junior Olympic team, and I started fighting boxing at the Billy Chavez Boxing Center out in Carson. I did Muay Thai out in North Hollywood. And Van Nuys, I was doing kickboxing at Jet Center. So I did a lot of fighting activities. I excelled really, really far with a lot of that stuff. And then one day my stepfather tried challenge. He basically challenged me. He was drunk. He got pissed off. And I said he was abusive before, but this last one was pretty bad. Where I had all a wall full of medals and trophies and stuff, and he ripped all the medals off and proceeded to beat me with them. Broke the trophies on my head. Then the following day, he threw me through a sliding glass door window. So that was at that point, enough was enough. I just couldn't take it anymore. So I was homeless as a teenager. Um, so that, you burn out your bridges after a while. No more friends will take you. I had no family around, so that was a moot point. And I jumped around. I lived in like hotel hallways, where the stairwells were because you want to get out of the cold. So in the back of the stairwells, I'd find some warmth, shelter there. Try to sneak in rooms if I could, go take showers or just stay warm, get blankets and stuff. Get the free breakfasts in the morning, all that kind. You know, did that for a minute. And then the instructor at one of the gyms I worked out at, he had a lot of heart. He saw the hardship I was going through, so he let me live at the gym. It was an exchange. I had to continue going to school, and but I can live at the gym. I would use all the kicking bags and everything as a mattress. It was a rough time because I mean, he paid me a little bit, but before then I was it was pretty rough, right? I'm breaking into cars and stuff and robbing people, just to get by. And so it's nothing I'm proud of at all. It was a miserable life. Um, but fortunately, I was able to finish school. And then at the age of 18, that life got pretty boring pretty quick. So I enrolled in the Navy, and I figured, I'm a pretty tough guy. I could fight. Might as well try for a Navy SEALs. Went through that program for about a year and a half, and I got introduced to cigarettes and drinking, um, and it wasn't good. Ended up getting in a bar fight, hurt a couple guys, and they promptly kicked me off the SEAL program. So immediately after that, they sent me to Iraq as, I don't know, punishment or whatever. And that sucked. So after that, I got out. I didn't want any part of the military because my goal was to be a Navy SEAL. And obviously, my dreams were shattered. Um, but because I had already graduated high school, finished Navy, I decided, okay, maybe college is my next goal. So I went to community college, did very well in community college. I had odd end jobs, working at like, tire shops, pizza places, wherever I could get hired. Um, and I had to, support myself. I helped support my mom. At the time, I had two of those half brothers. I was helping supporting them because their dad was just a piece of crap. He didn't work. Um, it was rough. It wasn't a good life. Let's see. After that, what happened? Oh yeah. So then I did really well in community college. I got accepted to UCLA. I don't know how. I'm kind of a dummy, but I got. So I was a philosophy major, if anything, and I picked that major because I like reading, and it was always empty. Like no one wanted to go to philosophy. It's a pretty hard major. But I found it easy, so it wasn't too bad. And then next, the drinking and smoking didn't never stopped. Started meeting girls and playing around. And then one thing led to another. Go to a party, got introduced to some drugs. Started out with ecstasy. Loved that. Didn't have money, so I started dealing. And then ecstasy turned into coke. Coke turned into meth, and so on and so forth. And you get combos of drugs I was doing over and over. And I just got to a point where, in order to sustain that kind of lifestyle, I had money, I had drugs, I had women, I had all this stuff, but I had to keep pushing more drugs. And it got to a point where quantity was high enough that I guess um, I got busted. Eventually, I just got busted. So I did 3 years of prison, and luckily, the program I was in afterward or during prison, they offered you a little bit early time off, 6 months off, if you do a drug rehabilitation program for 6 months. Then after you completed that, you get to live in a halfway house for 6 months. Then after that, I was on probation for 3 years. So I did all that, and then when I was finally released, um, what can I do? I'm a felon, right? So it's like construction work. Um, that didn't last too long. Didn't really like that. Then I got into. I wish I stayed in that actually, but then I got into being a limo driver because that's where all the parties were at. Then I started being a bouncer for strippers, and that was just another downfall because I just continually putting myself in bad places. Um, and it wasn't until much later that I finally, I'm going through life. You figure you go through your ups and downs, doing all that kind of crap. Um, got turned into a guy that does mortgages. Figured that business out. Started my own company. Did well. Next, 2007, 2008, the mortgage crisis crashed. I lost everything. Um, then afterward, I got a job at this place doing photography. Ended up not liking that place. They screwed me over a $300 bonus. So I started my own company doing the same exact thing. Excelled very well in that. I thought, I'm pretty driven. I'm a driven man. Anything I got to put my mind to, I can succeed in. So that business is still going. It's been 18 years now. And I used to make,
You said that's a photography business?
yes, sir. So and at that point, it was funny because people used to look down on me like, "Oh, you're just a photographer. He's probably broke." I was making about $1 million a year at that point. I was doing really, really well.
Wow.
Of course, my life is a roller coaster. So what happens? COVID, travel restrictions. All the hotel businesses are dead. So that was my main clientele. So now I lost everything again. But try to pick myself up. I had to move from California, and that's why I'm now here in North Dallas. Just to afford the cost of living is so much harder. Started my car audio company because that's one of my things I used to like when I was a kid, and that's been helping me sustain my living right now. So I went from making about $1 million a year. Last year, I clocked what I just did my taxes, $22,000. So I am broke. I'm broke as a joke. But through all that, I figured there's got to be some kind of happiness that I'm missing because I've had money, I've lost money, had money, lost money, had money, lost money. I just, it's a constant roller coaster. But I always figure, okay, I'll get myself back up on my feet. But every time I did, and I had a lot of stuff. I always thought I'd be fulfilled, but I always felt like an emptiness, and I couldn't figure it out. Um, and then I figured, okay, I'm gonna get married, have some kids. So I got married. My wife's gorgeous. I got three absolutely adorable kids, and I thought, man, that's gonna fill me up, and I'm gonna have that purpose and just feel great. No, I still felt empty. Um, and what was weird about that is I didn't know why. Like you know, when I had money, I got to do everything. I had the fancy cars, and I had them. I go everywhere I want and do all that, but it didn't satisfy me. I couldn't figure that out. And it wasn't until one of my best friends he asked me to go to church with him one day, and I'm agnostic, and my family's Buddhist, so I never had any inkling to understand what Jesus was all about. So he asked me to go join him at church, and I said, "No, it's not my life, dude. That's all. It's something I'm zero interest at all." But he really, God must have reached out to him because he really was insistent, say, "Hey, man, if you're my friend, you're gonna go with me." I'm like, "Dang, dude, why you gotta lean on me like that, right?" So I said, "Okay, okay, no problem. I'll go with you." But he didn't know I got high, so high before we went. Because I figured if I'm gonna put myself in this environment where I really don't want to be, at least I'm gonna be comfortable. So I blazed up, got super high, went to church, and man, I had a blast. It was like, whoa, the music was on point. The lights were just beautiful. All the lights show up, man. And the pastor was speaking, and he said some stuff that just hit my heart. I was like, "Damn, this was a great experience." Like,
Yeah.
holy, holy, right? So I said, "Okay, okay, let me try this again next week, but I'm gonna go sober this time. I want to see if this was real or it was just because I was high." So I went and had another fantastic experience, and I was like, "Okay, there's something here. There's something here that I haven't had in my whole life, but I'm feeling good. I'm actually happy." Like, it was weird because it was I could buy a new car, but it didn't make me happy. I can go travel somewhere, it never make me. I go to Sunday service and I'm happy. Like, and I didn't have to pay for it. It was free. Like, oh, man. So I've been going, and the pastor kept talking about these people. I don't know who they are, and blah blah blah. So I decided to just go get a Bible and read it. It's just a book, right? I mean, I was a philosophy major in college. I can read a book. I read millions of books. Let me just figure this out. So I started reading the book. Got really confused at first because it's all new to me, and then read it again. Still kind of had a hard time really understanding it and putting things together. So one of my buddies turned me on to Chosen. I watched Chosen. I binge watched that thing. It was such a great show, man, with the acting and everything. Oh,
I love that show.
yeah, and how they put all the characters together in one place, so it was easier for me to understand everything. And then the Bible started clicking. I'm like, oh, okay, okay, I'm feeling it now. And then one, I forgot which part hit me. I was reading the Bible, and it just hit me where I realized I was kind of like an orphan this whole time, right? I had terrible dads, but in the Bible I read that God has always been with me, and He's my father, right? And an orphan, right? There's millions of orphans out here, and all you had to do is pick one dad, which is God, and say, "Hey, will you be my father?" And He'll love me unconditionally, regardless of whatever I went through in my past. And just to understand that, that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I got down on my hands and knees. I'm getting emotional even talking about this. Holy, because this just happened in February of
Yeah.
last. So this is very recent to me. So I got down on my hands and knees and I prayed and I said, "Well, if you're gonna be my father, like, um, let's make a deal. You can't make a deal with God, but I that's my all right. Let's make a deal. I'm gonna surrender to you wholly and give you everything I got. But in return, you gotta tell me that you're never gonna leave me and you're never gonna hurt me, right?" And I felt this wave of love, right? It was I don't know how to explain it. It was something I never had. I'm feeling it right now too. It's crazy, just talking about it. And it was such an amazing experience. And I'm thinking, man, I'm alone in my room right now. Like how am I getting this touch? This is crazy. So I knew at that point, just like I do now, that God is real. Like He's sending me so much love for me to feel it, just to make sure that I know He is real, right? And at that point, I surrendered. So I went back to the church and I said, please baptize me immediately. I want to get baptized. So it happened. And then through that, a little backstory. My son, about 6 months before then, went blind in both eyes. He has an autoimmune disease, and it freaked us out because we thought he was playing at first, that he can't see. And then the next thing you know, we go to the hospital, and then an emergency room, and child intensive unit, and all that. And they're like, "Oh man, he might have a brain tumor, right?" I was like, "Oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me." But luckily, even back then, so I think this had to do something with God. 'Cause back then, my child, right, it was in my heart. I was miserable. And I prayed. It was a fake prayer because I didn't even believe back then. But I said, man, God, please save my son. Like, I don't know you, but please save my son. And he got out of it. And now, after some treatment, he's restored 95% of his vision. So thank God to that. And
Wow, man. It's amazing.
I made a deal with I made a deal with him. I can't believe I said I'm making a deal. So I made a deal with him. If you save my son, I'm gonna find you. And of course, I let time go by, and I didn't chase him. It wasn't until after I had surrendered to Jesus. Um, it was amazing that month because we've been testing every month to see how his autoimmune disease is recovered or not, and he's never recovered. And it was always the same level. So it was like, well, we're really tense around the house. Like we can't get him sick or nothing because it can pop back. But the month I surrendered and I got baptized, his autoimmune disease like almost disappeared off the chart.
Crazy.
Yeah, right. So, oh man, I'm sorry, I'm a little. Whew. But yeah, so God's real, man. God's real. And after that, I was thinking, okay, well, this is an amazing experience, right? And it's crazy. I'm 51 years old, right? And I'm a fighter. I never cry. I talk about God. I'm in tears all the time, man.
Yeah, he
It,
softens your heart.
yeah,
The Bible says he takes our hearts of stone and gives us a heart of flesh. Because when you're in the world, man, your heart becomes calloused, it becomes hardened, right?
yeah,
And then when you come to Christ, man, he softens your heart, man, and you're sensitive to the things of the spirit. Bro, there's times when I'm just listening to worship music driving to work, and I'll see the San Diego Sheriff's bus. I used to take rides on those buses, bro. I'll start crying like tears of joy, like thank you, God, that I'm not taking that ride no more. Little things, man. It's just like I'm grateful to feel these things because that was the
yeah,
reason why I used to get high. I didn't want to feel nothing, man. And now I feel everything and I embrace every single feeling, like pain, suffering, love, whatever it is, man. I'm not running from nothing no more. One thing you said was important to me because I grew up similar, right? My dad took off right when I was born. I didn't get a chance to know him. So rejection and abandonment really shaped me growing up, man. I had my mother. My mother was on drugs. Later on in my life, I had a stepdad who did come in. He was a good man. He wasn't a godly man, but he did a good job, taking care of me. But the problem was because of the rejection and the abandonment, I had a hard time receiving love, right? So what you said about the Holy Spirit when you felt God's love, I relate to that because I always had this wall up. I didn't trust nobody. I didn't know how to give love. I didn't know how to receive love because of the issues that I had with my father. And when I gave my life to Christ and I felt that love that you felt like just come over me, bro, I knew I was home. And it gives me chills when I talk about it because that love, nothing compares to it. No amount of drugs, no amount of money, women, like whatever your thing is, man, like the peace that God gives you and the love that he gives you is not comparable, right? And in that moment, I immediately stopped the addiction stopped.
mm,
Uh I was delivered instantly, bro, when I felt that love. It's been 11 years now, so that's powerful what you said about God coming over you, man, because it's his love, man, and there's nothing else like it, right?
and it's so powerful. I'm glad you're doing this podcast because I'm that showing other men that you know you want to share that with everybody, that same feeling that we have, right? So that's why I'm doing the same thing. So a month after I got baptized, I said, okay, I need to start a ministry. I need to share this love with other people too, because this is way too good, way too powerful. No amount of money, no amount of drugs, no amount of women, like you mentioned, will ever equal this. So I started a thing called Holy Rollers, where obviously because of my fighting background, I give free martial arts lessons to anyone that wants to participate. So that's my hook. But my intentions is every class I do entering and exiting prayer, and then I give a 15-minute sermon every class, and it helps me and it helps others because 3 times a week I do this, and 3 times a week I have a different sermon every class. So that makes me get into the book, makes me really understand the Bible and translate that message. And I have to include scripture, and make sure that I understand what I'm talking about, and hopefully helps others while doing so. And doing it's been a great experience. Man, brother, I've found some lost sheep, man. I brought them back in, and then there's kids out there that are so shy and they weren't confident and they're kind of afraid about showing their faith. But I make them pray publicly in their class, and it brings out this strong character in them. And then I bring parents to tears when they get to see their kids praying out loud and proud. Man, it's
Yeah,
just much joy I'm getting out of doing my ministry now. So I, you know, the guy that turned me on to it at first, his name is Noah. He runs Camp Arnold. It's a skate park, right? So when I saw this guy, I was like, man, I want to run a ministry too, but like I'm not a pro and blah blah blah. He goes, dude, you think I'm a pro? I'm like, yeah, I thought you were like a pro. He goes, no, man, I'm just a dad. I'm just a dad that loves God. I do like skating, and not put two and two together. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, did you go to seminary? Nope. I just read the Bible a bunch. Like, no way. So you're telling me that I can do this too? Yep. I'm like, okay. So I've been doing it. Now I've been doing it for about 10 months now. And man, I'm telling you, the reward from running this ministry is better than any job I've ever had. So if there's anyone that's listening to this, I hopefully that message rings to you in your head somehow, that you don't need to be an expert or pro or anything. All you got to do is have a passion for the Lord and a passion for people.
yeah, no, and that's ultimately why we're here, man. Like God doesn't take he doesn't take the people that are, considered like powerful or high up in this world or pros. Like, look at all the people in the Bible. Like Saul was a murderer, right? He persecuted Christians. He took that man, transformed his life, and now he's preaching to the same people that he was persecuting and murdering. Imagine that. Like
Yeah.
everybody in the Bible has a story, right? He says he takes the lowly things of this world and he shows his glory through them. That's how his glory is shown, right? You take somebody that's got it all together, they're a pro, they're successful in the world's eyes, like how is he going to use somebody like that? He can, but it's more powerful when he takes somebody who's broken, lost, hurting, hopeless, homeless, like addicted, and transforms their entire life. Like you take something broken and you fix it, and now you're out there just doing God's work, man.
Yeah.
So that's because you don't have to have, and that's the other thing. You don't have to have it all together, man, to
Yeah.
come to Christ.
What
That's
is,
the that's the one lie that keeps people away, man. They're like, I don't have it all together. I don't want to go to church. I'm gonna burn up when I walk through the doors. You know what I mean? Like,
I was that guy, man. I was totally that guy.
yeah,
It was funny. So on this journey, they say once you surrender, you get a new life in Christ. Man, that's so true because now that I am so afraid of disappointing my father, right? So I
yeah,
walk steps in his direction as best I can. My family's like, "Who's this new guy?" Right? You're drinking. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs anymore. I'm real polite and nice to my wife, like the day we first met. Like, I'm just giving as much love as I can everywhere. And everyone's like, dude, Bruce, whatever you're doing, don't change. We don't want that old Bruce. We like this new Bruce. So
yeah,
exactly like they said, if you walk in Christ, He gives you a new life, and that's what I'm living right now.
yeah. That's that new creation. He makes us a new creation, man,
Yeah,
and
so I'm
that's
not past, man. That's an old identity I don't even identify with anymore.
yeah, that's a powerful thing.
Yeah, I think I lost you there. I can't hear you.
Hold on one second. My daughter's right here. What's up? Okay. I'll be in there in a minute, okay? Yeah, that's that new creation, man. Um, that's why nobody can tell me God's not real. I'm like, I know he's real, man. Like you're walking, living, breathing testimony of the person I used to be and the person I am now. Like I didn't it wasn't me, right? I tried so many years of my life to change myself and all I had to do was surrender, man. That was it. I always came to the same dead end in the road when I tried to change myself and it didn't work. And I just did that one thing, man. I gave up, I surrendered, and that's where the change was made, man.
Yeah.
What for someone out there right now who's going through rejection or abandonment, like now that you're on the other side of the fence, man, and you're walking with Christ, like what's your best advice that you could give to somebody who's going through that? Because you know what? A lot of men, bro, believe it or not, grew up without a father, right?
Yeah.
And even both parents, you know, and that scars you, right? That leaves a big wound. And a lot of men they don't want to heal from those things. How did you heal from those things?
Well, the way I healed with it was with fighting and drugs and womanizing and thinking and trying to just be badass. What I thought in my head was being badass. Um, what I come to realize is that's a lot of fallacy. I was so full of myself. I had my head up my ass thinking I can control everything. I'm tougher than everything. I can I can manipulate my situation. I'm in total control. I didn't need nobody in my life because I didn't have a dad. I can do it all on my own. Um, and partly like I was very successful doing that, but then same at the same time I was very empty and lonely, and I had no direction, and I kept failing repeatedly because I had no direction. Had I had a loving father like Jesus in my life, I probably wouldn't have failed. I probably would have kept succeeding, right? So now that I'm in my low of lows again, which I'm in a low of lows, but I'm so happy right now. That's the crazy point, is because now I got the love. I know now that I got love and direction, even though I'm in my lows of lows, I can succeed. Like I'll be okay, you know. So I think what I could say to anyone that's going through this right now is have some humility. Recognize that you keep failing for a reason, just as I have. I think most men continually fail until they surrender and say, okay, I need better direction. Someone please help guide me. And once you realize that and you allow Jesus to guide your heart, um, it's impossible to fail at that point.
Yeah. And God's always the he's always the starting point for change, man. Like he changed so much stuff that I couldn't change on my own that I tried to change. And I think the most powerful thing is, you know, learning to surrender because we have pride, right? Men have pride. I don't even like the word surrender. When I hear it, I immediately want to rebel against it. You know, especially as like in fighting, like if you're a fighter too, or you do any type of sports, like surrender, no retreat, bro. Like that's just how I was raised, you know. So that's a tough thing for men to do is actually surrender. But there's so much power in dying to yourself and living for Christ, man. And
Yeah.
that's the goal as Christians, right? Because I want to stay as far away from me as I can. The flesh, the old person, like that's my goal every single day, man, is to get closer to him, die to myself, and pick up my cross daily. And that's a choice that we make. Everett. Pick up your cross daily, man. That takes, you know, it takes discipline. It takes the spirit helping us and giving us guidance and wisdom. And that's what I've kind of learned over the years is like I just have to be willing. I have to come to the Christ in surrender every single day, man. It's not a one-time decision to surrender. You have to surrender daily, man. And that was the one thing that I've learned over the years is like I thought it was a one-time decision. I'm good now. I surrendered. And
Yeah.
I'm over here finding out it's an every day, multiple times a day decision, man.
Well, it's also a matter of perspective, right? Like that before I found Christ, even when I had money and stuff, I was still empty inside. And I
Yeah.
would look at other Christians that were down and out that didn't have as much as money as I did, and they were happy. I'm like, how can you be happy? It makes no sense. You guys got a piece of crap car. I got a nice, sports car, right? I would compare and compare and compare. I got all this materialistic stuff, and I still wasn't happy. But these dudes had not much, and they were just always so polite and happy, just joyful. And I wanted me some of that, but you can't buy that. There's no they'll allow you to buy that. But they had God. And I always thought, man, you guys are idiots. You guys are full. You believe in some fake stuff. But you know that fake stuff that I thought was fake made them really, really happy. And now that I'm on the other side of the fence, man, I know it's not fake. I feel it and I know it. I acknowledge it. I'm living it. Now I have it. And it's funny. Now I'm the broke guy, but I got love and happiness now, you know? So I
Spiritually rich, man.
yeah, it's funny how that flips around, you know?
Yeah, it is, man. I think that's the Bible says the peace, you get this peace that surpasses all understanding, man. That's the one thing that's kept me from drugs, man. It's like having that peace, man, no matter what I'm going through, like being able to have that peace from God, man, is you can't compare it to anything else, man. And you only have peace because you know his promises, you know that he loves you, you know that everything that you're going through is for a purpose, right? There's purpose in your pain, man. It's not for no reason now. So it's now that you're on the other side of the fence, you can look at those guys and be like, okay, now I know why they or the joy of the Lord also. That's the other thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do these people have joy? Why are they content when they're going through something, something crazy, man? It's like only God can give you that peace and that joy, man.
What's awesome is that my family has known me forever, and my wife's family has known me for a long time now. And they're all Buddhists or Taoists, and they thought I was crazy. Like, dude, this guy believes in Jesus and stuff, right? So, and but now they're witnessing how he's Jesus changed my life. Like I'm no longer a jerk. I'm like really nice. I'm doing all this great stuff. And now my wife's extremely happy because like I treat her like like she's on a pedestal. I learned how to love, you know. And then I love my neighbors, like guys I used to don't like. I used to be pretty mean to everybody, but now I'm like I'm so full of joy and I'm giving joy as much as I can. I'm doing community service. I'm doing all this stuff, and everyone's like, dude, what's wrong with you? It's not what's wrong with me. It's what's right with me. And now they're starting to see it's like, okay, maybe he's onto something. And if I continue leading by example, like my son, I made a promise to my wife, I'm never going to force anybody in religion. It took me 51 years to find it. Everyone's going to find out on their own time, right? But I'm just going to lead by example, and I'm just going to keep doing me. And now my son has started watching all these roadblocks videos about God, which is kind of funny. He made a joke the other day about 6'7", 6'7", all the kids saying that stuff. And I said, son, that's not appropriate. And he says, well, Dad, how many days did it take Jesus to create the earth? I was like, 6 days. Yeah, because seventh was Sabbath. And I was like, oh, okay, okay, you get by on this one. But it was cool to see that he was picking up on biblical things because he sees his dad doing stuff. So because I'm leading by example, now he's starting to get into it. And then the other day, last weekend was I messaged you in our group there, and my wife went to church with me for the first time. Right? God bless. Oof. That was man. That made me so happy. Like
This is a perfect example of a statistic that I read last year that changed my entire perspective, man. It says there's a 93% chance that when a man gives his life to Christ, that his family will follow. And it's only 17 when the woman does it. So
hmm,
I started to understand like the importance of the role that we have, right? It doesn't mean that we're better than the woman. We just have a different responsibility to be spiritual leaders in our home. Like, think about that 93% chance, bro. That's almost 100% chance that your family's going to follow you into heaven if you set that example for them. And you're seeing the fruit of that right now.
yeah,
So, that statistic is powerful. And that's the whole reason why the ministry that I have is helping men because I know if I can touch one man's life, it's gonna like you got to think about the ripple effect. It's gonna affect future generations, like Abraham in the Bible. God said that He was gonna bless many nations and bless his descendants after him, man. Like think about how many people are blessed. And I look at it in my wife's family too, man. Her grandfather was a Christian, and we were sitting there at the Thanksgiving one day, man. I just got out of rehab. And I'm looking at all these kids. I'm looking, he has 3 kids. So, and all their kids have kids. So there's about 30 or 40 people around us, man. And all these people are saved, bro. And I'm looking around, and God gave me this revelation that because of the grandfather's faith, now it trickled down to 3 or 4 different generations. And I'm looking at it, bro, because of one man's faith. And
Hmm.
I was like, hey, God, I want to be that man. I want to be the chain breaker. I want to set that example for my family, right? And that's why I'm so dedicated now, man, to reaching men who are lost because I know, bro, like when you can help a man out and get him on his feet and change his life, God changes his life. It's gonna affect like his kids, bro. Like,
Yeah,
and that's a fact. You know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
man, so powerful, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming on here today, man. You got a very powerful testimony. I'm gonna I'll post all your stuff on there,
Okay.
your web your Facebook, man, so people can connect with you if they want to find you. Uh, Hopefully it reaches some people in your area, man, and could bring some people in your gym. That'd be cool, man.
Man, you should, man, one of these days, if you ever get to come out here and experience it, it started out, man, I started out in a grass field in my community area, and I
Yeah.
borrowed pulled out mats, and it was only like 4 dudes that come out every once in a while. And now my class sizes are about 25 to 35 people. Um, and yeah, it's changing lives, bro. And it's good because I'm helping a lot of people that can't afford this stuff, so they get to come down for free and learn. But the most important thing, like I said, is I'm dropping seeds of faith everywhere. And I'm making sure the kids see that. I always tell the kids, whenever you look at the guys that are praying and are so confident with the Lord, what do you think about them? Do you think they're strong characters? And they're like, yes, sir. I'm like, yeah, there's probably the strongest, most confident people you've ever met, right? They're like, yes, sir. So I start making them pray. And I say, what do you think we think of you now? And it hits them like a ton of bricks. And they're like, oh, I'm the strong guy? Yes, sir, you are. So beautiful.
So cool, man, to see God doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a blessing, man. Some of those kids, maybe they don't have that in their life and they're gonna remember that for the rest of their life. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And that
now when I ask, hey, who wants to pray? They're all like, I want to pray. it's,
that's funny.
I want to be the leaders. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to come down there one day and check it out, man. How
Yeah.
close do you live to Sean?
Uh, Pretty close. I mean, he's
Oh
been
yeah.
coming all the time now. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna have to I told him I'm gonna have to come out there and check you guys out, man. Take my family down there, get a
yeah,
little Airbnb, man. Spend the
man,
weekend down there.
just a fair warning. You check this place out, you might move.
Hey, we talk about it like once a year leaving California, man.
So when we moved, it was we're political refugees. I want to say I was a strong Republican, but now that I'm a follower of Christ, man, I don't want to hear any of that noise. Like
Yeah.
both sides are dirty. I only want to follow Christ now. I don't even care about all the politics stuff.
Yeah.
But what's nice out here is that we see where our tax money goes. Like the kids' schools are insane. They are just really, man, it's incredible. You can't compare it. It's just incomparable. And then the way they keep this area clean, there's no homeless around here. Like they manage all that. There's no graffiti. Um, when you want to get cut in traffic and stuff, people wave you through. Like they really try to help you out. One time we're at a football game, and my buddy's truck, his battery died. So we just popped the hood and we're just waiting for the tow truck. We had 4 people pull up on us within 10 minutes. Hey man, you good? You need a jump? I was like, that's how we do out here. Everyone's really nice, man. And like people,
Crazy, dude.
yeah, it's just people are really like, we have to plan anytime you go out at least extra 30 minutes to an hour of time just because people are gonna talk. It's weird out here. They're so
That's funny, dude.
down here, we were like tripping out because everyone was so nice. So, we come from the hood. You're like, man, what did you trying to get on me, man?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But no, they're genuinely that nice. And it got to a point where me and my wife were like, oh, damn, we got to step up and be nice back because
Yeah.
so nice to us.
Takes a while to get used to, huh?
Yeah. And so on the schools here, not a single kid locks up their electric scooter or bicycle or nothing. They just leave them there and they never get stolen.
That's
Right.
crazy,
Yeah.
man.
That's what I mean. It's like we're living back in the 50s over here or something. Everyone's nice. Yeah.
It's
Hey,
amazing though, man.
before we get up, let me give you a little thing that helped me when I was driving because I'm a I used to be a road rager. I hate that. Maybe you could share this with your group. But one thing that's helped me is I do this thing called earning Jesus points, and it's cool because my kids see me do this, and they tally up my points or they take away my points. And what I mean by that is that every time I'm driving, adults are conditioned to be really efficient, right? They try to get A to B real fast, and anything that interrupts them piss them off, right? So instead of doing that, instead of saying I need to be efficient from A to B, I try to earn Jesus points from A to B instead. And what I mean by that is every time I get a wave from somebody, a thank you, that's a Jesus point. So now I try to collect those. So now when I see people trying to get in line, I make space, go, go, go. And they give me that little wave. I got my Jesus point, right? Or, anytime I do something, I can get that little wave. I let that left turn person, come on, come on, come on, get in there. And they cut in there in traffic. Man, I get that Jesus point. So now I try to get 2 or 3 Jesus points anywhere I go. And when I do that, it makes my drive so much better than getting real pissed off at construction or pissed off that guy cut me off, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
So when I do that, man, and then sometimes I lose Jesus points because I get mad. But
He's like, I'm in the negative right now.
oh, my kids, they call me on it all the time. Dad, you just,
Yeah,
oh man, okay, I gotta earn it again. But
that's funny, man.
doing that, I'm telling you, will make your drive happy. And I know LA, I do not miss that LA traffic. But I tell you,
Heck no.
the 10 freeway, 405, I'm so glad I'm on that. But I'm telling you, if you earn Jesus points instead of try to get A to B quickly, your drive is gonna be so much better, man.
Amen, dude. Thank you for sharing.